Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we prepare for our third race of the season here in the NNSCRA Pedrigree Xfinity Series. Getting ready for our first road course stop of the season as we are here at Road America. Been a long time since I've actually commentated a race that was here at this very windy road course, but hopefully we're going to have some good racing here. I think the last time I ever did anything affiliated with this race, or this type of track, was in an online race all the way back during what was IMRC Lights, and that was a long time ago. But if I've ever done an offline race here at Road America, I don't really remember it. So obviously I'm going to have to get back into the swing of things, remembering how this track works and all that, and so will these 40 drivers, as coming into this one we are 2 races down. Ryan Madden and Kyle Thomas have both gone to victory lane. Madden at Dragonette. Last week it was Kyle Thomas at Pigs Stadium. Both races were really exciting, and hopefully this won't be one of those boring road course races. Hopefully it'll be an exciting one, and who knows? It's 16 laps of racing. It's a very long racetrack. It's over 4 miles in length. Maybe, just maybe, we'll see a fuel strategy race, but we're going to have to wait and see. It's an all Ford Mustang front row. Ashlyn Boyd will end up on the front row pole position. You would think that with this track having a right-hander as its first corner, that the driver that would start driver's right would actually be the pole sitter, but the way that this track works, the outside line gets a better entry into the corner, and so therefore the pole sitter starts on technically the outside of the front row. Then you've got Justin Dearborn. He's going to line up in second place, completing the blue oval front row. Both these drivers coming into this race, very different spectrums of the point standings. For Ashlyn Boyd, he comes into this one second in the point standings, only 1 point out actually of the points lead, which right now is still held by Ryan Madden. On the flip side, you've got Justin Dearborn. Now, he did have a good run last week at Pig Stadium, which moved him up 11 spots in the points, but he still comes into this one 21st in the point standings. Let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports, as we're going to have a little bit of time here under pacing to be able to talk about everything else.
Drivers, start your engines!
And as the field makes their way around this racetrack too, there are 2 particular places we're going to have to keep an eye on that are considered, if you will, the trouble spots of this road course. 2 very heavy braking zones, and we'll show them to you in just a moment. As a matter of fact, what we're going to do is, looks like someone had an issue there. Let's check in on that. Someone pulled to the inside. I don't know if it's the way that, okay, I guess they're fine. Yeah, looks like they're just trying to sort themselves out here going into the corner. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to take an onboard here with Ashlyn Boyd, the pole sitter, and show you a lap around this racetrack. So you saw they went through a right-hander for the first corner, another right-hander here. You'll also notice a very high lack of banking. This is a very flat racetrack in terms of any banking whatsoever. The only aids that they have in these corners are those rumble strips, and even then, that can upset the handling of the race car. Down here under the tunnel, this is going to be one of the most longest portions of the track where they will produce the most speed, which is kind of treacherous because you'll notice when they come down here into this left-hander, this is one of the trouble spots. This is one of the most heavily braking zones. See right there, the number signs on the right side wall. That's when they're going to have to start braking as early as back there. If they don't start braking, they're going to overdrive this corner. I mean, look at how this corner right here, how quickly it comes up on you, even at pacing, and just how sharp a 90-degree left-hand turn it is. And they are going to take that corner double, maybe 3 wide early on. That's what's going to be really treacherous. Then the uphill section here, this is another hard braking zone, a left-hander here. A little bit of runoff off to the right, though, so you can make a little bit of a mistake. But then right here, you've got this right-hander. Some drivers going to try and carry a little more speed than they should, and there's a sand trap off to the left, so if you make a mistake, it's going to be very, very detrimental to you as far as your positioning on track. Now they'll come down here into what is a combination left-hand, right-hand, and this is the second braking area that drivers are going to have to be very careful of. See a little bit of a runoff there, but they're going to have to coast through this corner right here in order to make this right-hander coming off the left-hander. So that is going to be difficult for drivers to do, especially when they're trying to make passes. In this area, they'll be getting back up through the gears. You can start to run this section a little bit wide open, but you got to make sure you don't run off the course, because you see off to the left, there are no rumble strips to help you. Little rumble strips off to the right. Then they'll come down here, another little bit of a straightaway, not very long, so not a whole lot of time to be able to make a move as you get ready to come down into this right-hander. See right there, number signs again, early braking zone area, as they'll head into this sharp right-hander. No forgiveness here. If you go off track, you're probably going to hit the wall, and the walls here are not safe for barriers. They will be hard hits. And you see steel guardrails start there on the left. That's even more of a hard hit if you end up wrecking in this portion of the track. Then you head down here into this corner. You got a little bit of a crooked left-hand turn before you get down here. It will be another left-hand corner here for these drivers. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it's a right-hand corner. My apologies. This is going to be another heavy braking zone. And then when they make this right-hander, see tire barriers there. After this right-hander, you head through a little bit of an S, if you will. A little bit of a right, little bit of a left, and then you'll head into the final corner, which is a right-hander going up the hill. You will ascend to the start-finish line up at the crest of said hill. So that hill could be very important in the closing stage of this race as well. And you will notice also that when you're coming to pit road, you're going to have to take that hill also. It's going to be off here to the right. You see that access road heading off to the right from the racetrack. That's actually where the pace car will head as he's about to let the field go. We will try and keep you aware of all the action that takes place here, because incidents may not necessarily bring out a caution with it being a road course. But here we go. At the crest of the hill, the flagman awaits. Ashland Boyd and Justin Dearborn get ready to get us underway. Green flag in the air here at Road America. Let's roll. Look at this. Some drivers already moving to the right to try and make moves here into this first right-hander. Can they make it through the corner safely? Looks like they're going to, and you can see Ashland Boyd swung around for the top position. So even though it looked like the pole sitter was going to be at a disadvantage, that's how it works here at Road America. You start on the outside going into turn one, sweep around, take the lead. Dearborn will slot into second, battles on for third. That's Diego Yepez and Eli Bright. Sky Commons Patrick Zych right behind there. You see that hard left-hand braking zone after the long straightaway. Looks like everybody got through that relatively safely. As this battle for second continues to rage on, Patrick Zych going to take away the fifth position from Sky Commons. Eli Bright runs a little wide there off that corner. Sends up some dust clouds for the rest of the field to get through. Ooh, little contact there between himself and the 90 of Yepez. Yepez runs wide as a result. And Eli Bright might be able to swing around for third place now, but not quite clear. Now he's got him, I think. Oh, Yepez not happy about that contact, though. He almost made some contact of his own right there, as he almost got into the right rear quarter panel of Eli Bright's Chevrolet. Looks like those three, though, will get single file with Patrick Zych closing in there. I think everybody at this point is okay. David Garcia at the tail end of this field right now. Started in the 39th position. Last week found himself in a barrel roll at Pig Stadium. Dropped from second in the points. Heading into that race all the way down to 22nd. Dropped 20 spots in the standings. I believe he was the only driver to finish out of the race last week at Pig Stadium as well. Ryan Madden, points leaders back there as well, the 11 car. Up the uphill they go as the top two have broken away. The best battle right now is for third. Diego Yepez back on the charge of Eli Bright. Patrick Zych right there as well. Sky Commons riding in the 6th position. Then you got a battle brewing back there for 7th between Nathan Stapleton, Jonathan Zoerlein. That's Eli Bright with the advantage there on the outside line. Looks like he may be able to get the 3rd position, finally wrestled away from Diego Yepez. As soon as I say that, Yepez battles back in the right-hander, and he might have the advantage down the straightaway. We're watching this battle back here because right now, Ashland Boyd and Justin Dearborn have pulled away by over 3 seconds. And they've got about a second difference between the two of them. So the best battling's going on from 3rd place on back. Yepez going to take the position. Last time they came up this section, Eli Bright bumped Diego Yepez out of the way. Will he do so again? Dives it to the inside. Yepez gives him a little bit more room this time. As we got a battle back behind them is, oh my goodness, Eli Bright off the course again. Nathan Stapleton looked like he almost followed him off. It's the second time Eli Bright has messed up that corner. And Yepez runs wide. Still side by side with Eli Bright though, and clears back to the third position. Ooh, Eli Bright took that corner awfully wide. I thought he was going to run off course again, and he may have just a tad. Fortunately for him, there was rumble strips that helped keep him on track. And now Nathan Stapleton has moved into the fifth position, got around Sky Commons, got around Patrick Zych, and he has put together a really good lap time. Last time by a 2:06.430, and I think this is going to be a very fast lap for him. He may have run the fastest lap of this particular lap, specific lap. As Ashland Boyd continues to show the way in the 6 machine. Had a second advantage between himself and Justin Dearborn last time by. We'll see what the advantage is this time. We'll also compare lap time, see if Boyd is pulling away or if Dearborn's doing anything to try and reel in the number 6 Mustang as at the line. 1.07, so it stayed about the same distance. Let's see what the lap times were. Ashland Boyd ran a 2-minute 4.64. And Dearborn ran a 4.78, so he was just a tick slower. About maybe 3/100ths. I want to see what Stapleton's lap time was. Well, he was back in traffic, so a 2:02.233. But he definitely picked up at least 2 or 3 positions on that lap. Got to drop back now to the 6th position. That's the fight going on now. Actually, I believe this is for 7th. Is that Trent Dunham right there making a move? No, that's last week's winner, Kyle Thomas. Almost thought about 3 wide on Sky Commons and Charles Jackson. Jonathan Zoerlein's back in this. Jacob Thibodeaux as well in the 52. And I think I saw Dylan Poteet and James Shelly just outside of this battle. Whoa, Commons off the course a bit. What really amazes me is the drivers that we've seen. Commons there, and then the previous 2 laps, it was Eli Bright. But they've been able to get back in the throttle and maintain battling for whatever position they are in contention for. Ooh, Commons got run up the track there. Might have had a little help from Kyle Thomas as Charles Jackson will clear for what I believe is the 7th position. Now the battle's on for 8th, and Commons will take the spot. Is something wrong with Kyle Thomas, or did he just have to take that corner really slow because he just lost a spot to Commons, lost a spot to Zoerlein, and I think Jacob Thibodeaux just got around him. Yeah, he did. So Thomas, I think he, I don't know if he got loose in that corner, had to lift to avoid running into somebody to his outside or what, but he really slowed up in that corner, and now he's under fire from James Shelly. Got a good battle back here behind them. Daniel Voyles and 28 of Skylar Perry. Up the uphill they go as James Shelly now challenging Jacob Thibodeaux. Looks like Shelly will get the position. That moves him up to the 11th spot, I believe. See if any battling's brewing up here towards the front. Might have a battle again going on between these two, but there is a battle for the lead. That last time by, Justin Dearborn cut the lead down by 0.6, and he is all over the back bumper of Ashland Boyd. Might have bumped Ashland into that corner. And just like that, if these two start battling each other, 3rd place on back may be able to concentrate on hitting their marks and reel these drivers in. So you gotta wonder, was Dearborn waiting? He hit a 1:59.927 last time. Ashland Boyd's lap was still in the 2-minute range. It's like now Dearborn's losing a little bit of ground. I don't know if maybe getting right up behind the 6 is hurting the handling of his race car. Still within striking distance if Ashland Boyd makes a mistake, but definitely not nearly as close as he was in the first half of this track. Maybe he was just testing the waters, seeing where his strengths were against Ashland Boyd's weaknesses. But he's still right there, so some tells me he hasn't yet waved the white flag of surrender. Let's watch him through this corner, see which lane they take. Both of them right down on the rumble strip, neither one running very wide. And back up the hill they go. Sky Commons right now in the 8th position. And he's got a bunch of hungry drivers behind him. Jonathan Zoerlein, Kyle Thomas, J Shelly. You look at Ashland Boyd coming into this race second in the point standings. A victory could put him in the playoffs for absolute certain. You're looking at Kyle Thomas, who may have locked himself up a spot in the playoffs with his win last week at Pig Stadium. That victory propelled him from 20th to 4th in the standings coming to this one, but boy, he's had his hands full. That time he ran wide, loses a spot to J Shelly, and now here comes Jacob Thibodeaux. So, while he's up here inside the top 10, actually I think he just dropped out of the top 10 now, he's definitely had his hands full in the beginning laps of this race. Now, as I stated, this is a road course, so if any issues take place with a single car, it may not necessarily bring out a caution. So let's drop to the rear of the field, because I'm seeing some skid marks, but I can't tell if that's textures of the track or if that's actually something that's happened here during this race. See if anybody's had an issue yet. And there's your answer. Nope, everybody's been able to keep it on the track, at least at this point. Ryan Madden, Quentin Moore, both here at the very rear of the field as someone got off course there. Could have been anybody in this field. We've seen a number of drivers already running off the course. Ryan Madden almost into the back of Kyle Langeland there. Anthony McCrury's back here in the 35th position, 7th in the standings coming into this one. We talk about drivers trying to be consistent here to be able to get one of the 2 playoff positions via points. It's not going to help McCrury's case. Z Winkle is also back here in the 4. Winkle coming to this one 3rd in the standings. Right now he's in the 32nd position. And not that much farther ahead is the... where is he? I just saw him. I thought I did. There he is. 17th position is N Ormond, and he is 6th in the standings. Right now, the only drivers points-wise that are having what look like somewhat good runs. So we'll watch this battle here for what is, I think, the 13th position. But drivers that would include Ashland Boyd, who's out in front. Kyle Thomas, who right now I think is scored in 11th or 12th. Actually, I think he just took 10th place back from Jonathan Zoerlein. You've also got Daniel Voyles, who we saw just moments ago in the 46. There he is, 15th. He's 5th in points. N Ormond just ahead of him, running now in... Actually, I think he might have just taken the 14th... No, 15th. He took the 15th position away from Daniel Voyles, 6th in the standings. And Diego Yepez, 10th in the standings. Currently up here riding in the 3rd position as Kyle Keith got off track. Kyle Thomas trying to take the position back from him. That was... I think this is a battle right now for 10th place, actually. Skylar Perry getting into the mix now. Jonathan Zoerlein right there also. And Joshua Ciculli trying to close in. Got a battle brewing for 8th. J Shelly trying to reel in Sky Commons. Move up to the front, see if anything's happened between our top 2. And while Justin Dearborn's still there, he has not got nearly as close a proximity between himself and Ashland Boyd as he did before. It will be interesting to see if these drivers can make it on fuel. 16 laps of racing. Think about the fact that, okay, let's speculate here. We were last week, was it 38 laps at a 1.2 mile racetrack. Some drivers could not make it on fuel. So that is roughly about... Well, if I could do the calculations in my head, that'd be great, but apparently I can't. Let me actually see if I can calculate this with the calculator. So 38 laps. Track was about 1.2 miles, so they went about 45 miles. And they had to pit. So we're here today, 16 laps of racing at a little over 4 mile racetrack, and that is 70 miles. So I think they're going to have to pit. Got to bear in mind as well, though, it's a road course, so there's a lot more braking zones, a lot more areas to coast, a lot more areas to be able to save fuel. The gas guzzling area would have to probably be the uphill section heading to the start-finish line. J Yepez rides in third, Eli Bright in fourth, Stapleton in fifth. You got to wonder if any of these drivers back here, are they thinking about saving? I mean, can you think about saving? If everybody has to pit anyways, I don't really know why you would save, but, I mean, let's say perhaps these drivers all pit now. They can only make it 7 laps, and they'll have to pit in another 7 laps. I mean, would you try saving fuel so that way you can make it 8 laps on the next run? Speaking of run, Justin Dearborn making a run at Ashland Boyd again for the race lead. And they do not head for pit road, so they will at least make it to lap 8. So if they can complete the 8th lap, then we know that they will be able to make it on just 1 pit stop, if indeed they are going to have to pit in this race. But they would not have to pit again. If they can complete 8 laps, then they'll be able to complete the final 8 laps on 1 tank of fuel. I would be very careful if I were these top 2. J Yepez ran a lap time better than Justin Dearborn, maybe about 3/100 slower than Ashland Boyd, and he is closing. He just ran his fastest lap of the race, and he's all by himself now. Actually, I think we just had some pit stops. Oh, we had lots of pit stops. This is coming to the end of lap 7. So either the fuel window opened for these drivers to be able to make it the rest of the way, or they're going to be in trouble on the final lap. David Garcia was the last to stay out. Eli Bright was the first one to come off pit road. It's like Garcia, Hartnett, Yepez, Dearborn, and Boyd were the only 5 cars that did not pit that lap. It's going to be fresher tires for Eli Bright and Nathan Stapleton, so we'll see if that's going to maybe help them out in terms of lap times and maybe trying to get up here into this battle with Ashland Boyd and Justin Dearborn. My assumption is we're going to see the remaining 5 drivers on pit lane this lap. I'll be shocked if anybody goes an extra lap. That might be why Dearborn was putting so much pressure just moments ago on Ashland Boyd, realizing that these pit stops were coming up, wanting to pit from the first position rather than from second, and here come the race leaders. Yepez is going to hit pit road as well. Emmanuel Hartnett quite a long ways back from these guys. Going to be a bit before he gets up to the pit road entry. He's now heading into the final corner now. See if he's going to hit pit lane, or was he saving? Nope, he's coming to pit road as well, and the last car we're waiting on is the 7 of David Garcia. So let's follow first and second place, see what the strategy call is here. I would think it'd be 4 tires because they're going to have to pack the car full of fuel anyway. Going around to the right sides. Ashland Boyd's team and Justin Dearborn's team, both just about exact same pit stop times. And Ashland Boyd's going to drive away from Dearborn. J Yepez coming out in third, and here comes Eli Bright, who hit pit road earlier than these guys did. Looks like he's still going to cycle around into 4th place. So pitting early, getting the fresher rubber did not really help Eli Bright. And now the question is, who can make it on fuel? I mean, I would think if you're Ashland Boyd, Justin Dearborn, Emmanuel Hartnett, Diego Yepez, and David Garcia, you're pretty much all set. You made it to the completion of lap 8, so you can go another 8 laps. But everybody else came to pit road at the conclusion of lap 7. If that's as far as they can go, which is 8 laps, then they're going to have to come to pit road just at the dropping of the white flag. I don't know if they can make it that extra lap. We'll also have to see if Justin Dearborn can start closing back up on Ashland Boyd. Like Ashlyn Boyd gained some ground on Dearborn, getting off pit road first, being able to get back up through the gears quicker than Dearborn was able to. Diego Yepez right now in that third position. And remember, before we had these drivers hit pit road, Yepez was closing in on the top two. So we'll have to see. We'll have to watch the interval between himself and first and second place to see if indeed he's going to be able to close back up on them. There's Eli Bright right now in the fourth position. Fifth would be Nathan Stapleton. Patrick Zych right now in sixth. There's a driver that could really use a good run as he is 39th in points coming into this one. Seventh currently would be Charles Jackson. Sky Commons runs eighth. Ninth is James Shelly. And completing your top 10 currently would be the Junior Motorsports entry of Kyle Keith. We'll show you the rest of the running order in just a moment. I want to take a look at the lap times here, and Yepez lost some ground that time, lost about maybe 1.7 seconds. Dearborn now a full second back from Ashlyn Boyd, but remember, his car got better as the run went on. Same for Yepez. So as I believe most drivers have crossed the start-finish line now, let's go back further outside the top 10. Kyle Thomas currently runs in 11th. Emmanuel Hartnett sits 12th. 13th is Skylar Perry. 14th, Jonathan Zoerlein. 15th is Daniel Voyles as Zoerlein ran wide through that corner. He'll take 14th away now from Zoerlein. Drop Zoerlein back to 15th. 16th, Jacob Thibodeaux. 17th, S Ozkan. 18th is Joshua Ciculli. 19th is Anthony Lopez. And right now your top 20 is completed by Nathan Stapleton, who actually just ran his fastest lap of the race. 10 laps in. Same for Dylan Poteet. 21st right now. 22nd is David Garcia. Andrew Miller runs 23rd. 24th, Trent Dunham. 25th, James McCloud. 25th place is where we find Jimmy Dawson. 26th is Sean Gallighan. Actually, no. 25th is actually McCloud. 26th is Dawson. Sorry. 27th is Gallighan. 28th place under contest. And looks like Chase Marks will take it. 29th will be Zach Winkle. 30th is J.D. Figadarello. 31st, K Shearer. 32nd is Arthur Xavier. 33rd, Quentin Moore. Matthew Logan, 34th. 35th, Corey Williams. 36th is the points leader, Ryan Madden. 37th, Anthony McCrury. 38th is Nicholas Romero. 39th, Phil Parker. 9th in the points coming into this one. And right now, the last car on track, 40th, last car on the lead lap is Kyle Langeland. A couple of names I spotted back there at the rear of the field that really needed good runs here today and are not getting them. K Shearer, 35th in points. Corey Williams, 32nd in points. Quentin Moore, 40th. Nicholas Romero, 38th. These drivers, they are struggling here at the beginning of the season. And, you know, obviously a win could certainly help them later on down the road to help them as far as their morale. But if they dig themselves into too big of a hole, they're not going to make it into the top 20 in points. And as far as the playoffs are concerned, a win's not going to mean a hill of beans if you're not in the top 20 in the standings. Ashlyn Boyd has dominated this race since the drop of the green flag. Not to say he hasn't had challenges. Justin Dearborn's made a couple of attempts. But Ashlyn Boyd's done very good in just hitting his marks. Started on the pole, which track position is always a huge thing. Doesn't matter what road course you're at, whether it be here at Road America, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Charlotte Roval. If you start out front, you've got a pretty good chance of finishing out front, or at least up towards the front, having a good points day. But still the question of fuel. I mean, how much could Boyd be saving? Boyd and Dearborn came down pit road one lap after most of the field. Calculations say they can make it the rest of the way. But were they saving on that first run? If you're running full out, can you only make it 7 laps? If you're saving a bit, can you make it 8 laps? So, you know, if these guys now, if it's go time for Ashlyn Boyd and Justin Dearborn and they're putting the hammer down, are they using up more fuel than they did in the first 8 laps and be able to make it only 7 laps and have to pit coming to the white flag? You know, it's not over yet. The calculations I'm making are simply based off of speculation, based off what we saw of when drivers hit pit road on that first round of green flag pit stops. It could mean absolutely nothing when we get down to 2 laps to go. Let's drop back as we may have a battle brewing for third place. Eli Bright closing in there on Diego Yepez. These two had some contact back on the first 2 laps of this race, both on the exchange side of it as well. And now they find themselves in the same position, battling for third place. Yepez 10th in the standings coming into this one. Eli Bright 31st. And Eli Bright making a move down here. Ooh, he thought about driving it in. Thought better of it, but he is right there. I think it's right down here that Eli Bright made the contact with Diego Yepez back on lap 1. Yeah, it was, because then Yepez ran that corner wide. And then it was down, leaving this next corner right here, that Yepez ran Eli Bright wide off the course. Well, not off the course, but he ran him off onto the rumble strip there. Drop further back, Nathan Stapleton about to get caught by, I think that's a teammate in the 48 car. Yeah, I think these two are teammates, if I recall correctly. Stapleton and P Zych, and you could hear right there, Nathan Stapleton got the left sides on the rumble strip. While that helps your race car to stay stable, it doesn't help you in terms of speed. It actually slows you down a bit. P Zych running that corner wide, trying to get a good straightaway. And as these two battle, Charles Jackson starts to close in, so we could have a 3-man fight for the 5th position. Got a good battle going on for 9th place as well. Actually, it's for 8th between Commons, Shelly, and Keith. Kyle Thomas not too far back as well in the Zero Machine, right now in 11th. That last time by, Justin Dearborn actually gained on Ashlyn Boyd. Well, Ashlyn Boyd just ran a lap time that people would comment on. 2 minutes, .666 for the 6th car. Well then, 4 100ths faster that last lap was Justin Dearborn. Boyd ran a 6.66, Dearborn ran a 6.26. So he's slowly beginning to chip away. Question is, if he catches him, where does he try and pass him? We've seen some passes take place in the early stages when everybody was wadded up, but there's not been a whole lot of passing going on here since the green flag pit stops happened. And now we start to enter into that area of questioning, if you will, of who can make it. When they hit the line, the leaders, there will be 3 laps to go. We'll compare the lap times between the 6 and the 98 this time. I think that Dearborn has to close up quicker than a 10th a lap if he's going to have a shot at Ashlyn Boyd in the closing stages. Or does he try saving? I mean, he doesn't know if the 6 can make it. If the 6 can make it, no sense of trying to save fuel. If he can't make it, though, do you try and save a little so that way you can? Right here's where he's got to make up most of his ground. Try and use the draft on the straightaway here as well as the straightaway over on the other side of the course. That time by 2 minutes 6:03 for Boyd, 4:91 for Dearborn. Picked up another 9 100ths, cutting it down to an even 8/10 of a second between himself and the 6 machine. This battle for third is closer. Diego Yepez and Eli Bright still battling each other. Eli Bright made an evasive dive maneuver a couple of laps ago. Let's see if he tries it again. Looks like he's going to lose a little bit of ground here on the straightaway section. Let's see if he can gain it in the braking zone. Right up the back bumper of Diego Yepez. He's there. Looks like Yepez was able to get back up through the gears quicker out of the corner, though. Looks like Eli Bright can drive it in deeper, but Diego Yepez is able to get back to the throttle sooner on exit. So right now, both these drivers kind of canceling each other out. Stapleton trying to look more out the windshield than in the rearview mirror, because if he looked back in his rearview mirror, he would see a company that's currently bankrupt, under investigation by the FBI. But nonetheless, Patrick Zych right there, as well as Charles Jackson. Talk about Patrick Zych needing a good run. Nathan Stapleton, 29th in the points coming to this one, and Charles Jackson, 25th in the stands. So good runs for all three of these drivers. Is Patrick Zych going to try and make a move? Had to lift. That's going to cost him. Charles Jackson now trying to find a way by. Thought about going driver's left, now shoots driver's right. He'll try the inside line through this corner. Can he make it work? Patrick Zych going to battle back on the outside line, but I think he's going to have to give way, and Charles Jackson is going to capitalize on Patrick Zych's mistake. That will move him up into the 6th position. Someone kicked up some dust back there. I don't know who it was. That was back here around Sky Commons' James Shelly, who are still in that dogfight for the 8th position. And I should mention that the battle for the race lead remains about 8/10. Matter of fact, Ashland Boyd was quicker than Justin Dearborn that time, as Charles Jackson, see here, battling for the 5th spot with Nathan Stapleton, and he'll take it. So Charles Jackson picked up 2 spots in the span of 1 lap. Looks like Diego Yepez has opened up the gap between himself and Eli Bright. And I don't know, that looks closer than 8/10 to me. At least for a brief moment, it looked like it was closer than 8/10 between Boyd and Dearborn. We're on lap 15. This is the big question. Will we see the 6 and the 98 dive for pit road? If they don't, the car we're going to have to focus on is the 88 of Eli Bright. He was the first car to hit pit lane back nearing the conclusion of lap 7. So if 7 laps is as far as he could go, if he can go 8 laps, he would have to pit this lap. So we'll watch and see. Does anyone risk it? Does anyone stay out and try and make it the extra lap? Ashland Boyd, 2nd in the points coming into this race. We already mentioned it at the beginning of the race when he was lined up on the pole, that if he went on to win, he would probably lock himself up a spot in this season's Pedrigree Xfinity Series playoffs. Moment of truth. Off the final corner. Does he pit? Does he stay out? He's staying out. So is Dearborn. What about the 88 of Eli Bright? Can he make it one more lap, or is he going to have to pit? He's going to stay out. So I think all these drivers have made their beds. Now they've got to lie in it. I don't think we'll see anybody on pit road unless they did not do a good job of conserving here since the last pit stop. Everybody here is staying out. Boy, Jonathan Zoerlein ran that corner wide. Yep, everyone's staying out. And it was about 9.5 of a second between Boyd and Dearborn that last lap. Boyd was about a full 10th faster than Justin Dearborn was. So Dearborn now, I think the only shot he's got is for Ashland Boyd to make a mistake. And Ashland Boyd's got nothing but clean racetrack out in front. Nearly a second in the bank between himself and 2nd place, so he can just hit his marks. Doesn't have to worry about anything else. If a caution comes out, wouldn't matter. We'd still race back to the line. Obviously, with staying out, feels he's good to go on fuel, so doesn't need to conserve in that way, shape, or form. It's all about hitting the marks, which he has hit for the last 15 laps. Has been absolutely spot on every single corner. And yeah, he had the advantage of starting on the pole position, but you have to maintain the position that you qualify in, and that's exactly what Ashland Boyd's been able to do. Came in 2nd in the standings today to Road America, will undoubtedly leave the points leader with a pretty good gap, may also have locked himself up a spot in the playoffs. Coming up the hill, headed for the start-finish line, Ashland Boyd will go coast to coast, takes the checkered flag here today at Road America. And that is going to be the first win of the season for the Blue Oval manufacturer. Chevrolet so far has the first 2 victories of the season. And now Ashlyn Boyd claims the 3rd checkered flag of the year. And as stated, I think, provided staying in the top 20 in the point standings with the performance here in the first 3 races of the season, I think very well will find himself in a playoff position. 6th place average finishing position coming into this one in the first 2 races of the season, now at a first place finish. And Ashlyn Boyd, as a matter of fact, with this victory, is the only driver to start out the season 3 for 3 in finishing inside the top 10. So what a great season it's been so far for the driver out of Roush Fenway Racing. Standings, I think, are going to be official. I think the field is crossed. Yes, the whole field is now finally crossed. So Ford started on the front row, and those front row drivers finished 1-2, with Ashlyn Boyd, Justin Dearborn finishing it out 1st and 2nd. Diego Yepez brings it home in 3rd. 4th for Eli Bright. Charles Jackson moved up a couple spots in the closing stages to finish 5th. Patrick Zych in 7th. Nathan Stapleton faded back to 7th. 8th was Sky Commons. James Shelly in 9th, and Kyle Keith completed the top 10. Good run for Kyle Thomas after his victory last week at Pig Stadium. He'll finish the day out 11th. Skylar Perry in 12th. Emmanuel Hartnett 13th. He was one of 5 drivers that stayed out that extra lap, and he will come home because of that with a 13th place run. Teammates met Ozkan in 14th, and Jonathan Zoerlein will finish in 15th place. The rest of your top 20 were Daniel Voyles, Nathan Ormond, Andrew Miller, Joshua Ciculli, and Anthony Lopez. We look on down at the remainder of the finishing results, and one name that springs to the forefront immediately is the 11 of Ryan Madden. Did not start well in this race, and as a consequence does not finish well. Mired back in traffic, finishes in the 35th position. Came into this race the points leader, will definitely not be leaving as the points leader. But the thing that worries me is it's early on in the season. A bad performance can drop you down several spots in the standings. Certainly have to hope for his sake that he doesn't drop down close to that 20th position in points, because remember, his victory, he has to remain in the top 20 in points for it to count towards a playoff position. And so hopefully for his sake, he will stay in the top 20 in the points heading into next week. You see the caution's out. That's the first time that the pace car lights have been on since the pace lap that started off this race. I don't know what the caution was for. Probably drivers stopping on track, but doesn't matter. So that's going to do it here today from Road America. Definitely early on, the racing was unbelievable through the field. The field got spread out. It was typical road course racing, but definitely early on, it was some good racing. So, yeah, pretty glad that we had this track on the schedule. Like I stated at the beginning of the season, we're going to tracks that the Duracell Cup Series does not go to here for the Xfinity Series, trying to showcase some more tracks and try to get some more racing in there. And another track that we will be going to next week is a track that, to my knowledge, I don't remember in that one going to it at any point in my commentating career, and that's Memphis. So that's going to be a crazy one as well. Hope you tune in for that. But thank you all so much for tuning into this race here from Road America. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown you full history results. These are your point standings heading into next week at Memphis. Until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching Production History, Offline Racing at Best. Tune in tomorrow for the Duracell Cup Series race. We'll see you guys in 2 days.